All right, welcome everybody to our Move Everyday podcast. I'm Coach Mike, coming to you from Hackettstown, and with us today we have a special guest from way out in Michigan. Her name is Marilyn. Hello, Marilyn.
Hi, Mike.
How are you doing today?
I'm doing great.
And is it fair to say you're from Chelsea, Michigan, or are you in a different town close to Chelsea?
Mailing address is Brooklyn, Michigan, but not too far from Chelsea. It's about a 25-minute drive to go to the gym.
Awesome. Okay. So Marilyn is coached by Cyril and his crew over there at Chelsea. And Marilyn, why don't you go ahead and tell us a little bit about yourself? Where you're from, what you do for fun, what you do for work maybe, and how you got linked up with Chelsea over there.
Okay. Well, first of all, I never thought I'd end up in a gym like Cyril's because I used to do basic exercises when I worked. I was a teacher, middle school and high school for 37 years. And I would do Pilates and yoga and group spinning classes. And we lived in a suburb north of Detroit called Troy, Michigan. And I enjoyed it, and it was fun, and I just always thought I wanted to do more. Well, we retired out in the Brooklyn area, and we, be honest with you, we are snowbirds. We go to Florida in the wintertime. And in 2014, December, I had bilateral knee replacement. My knees, I was suffering from arthritis, and it was harder to do spinning and some of the exercises I was doing. And the doctor recommended I do it, and as long as I was getting one, I thought I'd get them both done at the same time. But I had this done in Florida, and I rehabbed, but I didn't quite feel strong enough. I mean, they put you through a rigorous rehab, but I just wanted more. And I remembered a friend of mine doing CrossFit up here. She did it in Adrian, Michigan. Her and her husband did it together. And I thought, you know what, I'm going to look around in Florida and see if there's any CrossFit facilities and see what it's like. Well, I came across a class or a box in Florida, Naples, Florida, and they had a master's class, which was people that were 55 and over. So I was brave enough to join, and they were very welcoming, and that's where my CrossFit exercise regimen started. And then when I came back up here in the spring, I was at a loss in Michigan to find a place. So I did some research and found Cyril's place online. And he tried doing a master's class, but just couldn't get enough people to be a part of it. There were sometimes 3 of us, sometimes only 2 of us. And I did that for one, let's say, spring, summer, and fall. And the following year, he said, no, you're done. You're joining the regular class. So that's when I became a member of the regular Strong Together fitness classes. And I do more than I ever thought possible. I have to say I'm proud of myself for what I can do. And it's been since I said 2014, but I'm much stronger and very happy that I'm working out here. Plus, I'm working out in Florida in winter. We're leaving shortly to go back down there, and I'll be working out 3 days a week there.
Awesome. So how long ago was the surgery?
2014, December of 2014.
Gotcha. So it's almost been about 5 years. So you rehabbed, you got back, some strength, they helped you, but then you felt like you weren't really strong enough, not where you wanted to be. So that's when you started looking for other avenues, right?
Right. I could not squat as far as I can squat today. Let's put it that way.
Mm-hmm. After the rehab, was anything else still particularly challenging? Getting around, getting up and down, whatever stairs or anything like that?
Challenging, but as you age, you lose balance, you lose mobility. And I didn't want to be one of the people in Florida that uses a walker and uses a cart to take the groceries from the car to the condo. I wanted to be able to carry my own groceries and walk on my own and even run if I had to, just to be stronger. So this has helped with every aspect of that.
Awesome. And how did you, so I understand you found like a seniors only class, or like a master's class, they call it.
Right.
And what was was that really all you were looking for, or were you just looking for a gym and you happened to find that? I'm just interested in were you super intimidated to get into something like that? Or was it that master's class that kind of convinced you, like, okay, maybe I can do this?
Now, the master's class was wonderful to start out in. First of all, I feel the CrossFit Strong Together community is very, I don't want to say loving, but they're very committed to helping one another out. And the master's class in Florida was the same way. I was welcomed, I was evaluated, first of all, by the coach down there, see what I could do, and asked about my goals. And it wasn't easy, I'll put it that way. I was exhausted at the end, but I kept going back. And the group was very helpful in helping me get through the workouts and commending me on what I had done. So it's really a community effort. And the master's class was a good way to start that. Even with zero, with only 3 people, it built my confidence. I mean, I couldn't jump on on up 2 feet before Cyril, helped me try that once about 3 years ago. So I'm still at box jumping, but I'm up about 3 15-pound plates. So for me, that's good.
Awesome. So I'm interested. So you went back to Michigan, you found Cyril, and you were in like this little small community. How long were you in those classes? It sounded like you said a couple seasons, like spring, summer, fall. And what was it like just being in a small group of 3? Did you feel like, like were the workouts too hard, too easy? Did you like having that kind of, your own little class that you went to? And I assume you saw the same couple people pretty much every time you went.
Yeah, it was very comfortable because I didn't know Cyril. I wasn't familiar with, his gym up here. And it was nice having just the 3 of us. It was almost like a private session. And I felt that Cyril was not only giving me great instruction, but because it was a small class, he was really watching form. And I think that's real important with everybody, but especially people that are a little older. I think if you lose the form, you can hurt yourself. And he was very protective of making sure that whatever we did correctly. Even if we couldn't, he made us push ourselves, but felt comfortable if maybe we just used the barbell and didn't add weights, as long as the form was correct.
Gotcha. And sorry for the barbells in the background. Johnny's one of Johnny's counterparts, Michelle. She's one of our other employees here with Strong Together. She's getting in the open workout right now. She didn't get to do it on Friday. So, but awesome. So what was the transition like? Were you scared? How did it go from like when Cyril was like, oh, nope, you're ready? Because honestly, a lot of times the coach knows before the athlete knows, and, you're doing everything. You're maybe modifying here and there, like you said, not jumping, but all of that stuff is typical in a class. It's not like everybody's jumping. It's not like everybody's doing double unders or everybody's doing, heavy weights. So what was that transition like?
Well, I was nervous, to put it bluntly. I was very nervous to come back up and know I was going to be going into a regular class of all age groups. But then again, the coach is the person who watches out for you, whether it be Cyril, whether it be Larry, whether, whoever it was. They watch individually what I was capable of, and, they keep an eye on me. I think I have to say I'm the oldest one at Cyril's gym, so I think they really keep an eye on me just in case. But they push me in the same token, and they don't let me wimp out. But they made me feel very comfortable. It's that's what's nice about that particular gym. And, even the gym in Florida, they make you feel comfortable, they praise you when it's needed, they encourage you. So I was intimidated, I'll be really honest with you. But after, maybe a couple of weeks, I felt I'll do what I can do. It's up to the athlete too, I feel, to push yourself. If you feel like, well, maybe, the coach says you should do 15 pounds, but oh, maybe I can do 25. Then you have to push yourself individually, otherwise you won't move on.
Now, I'm curious what got you. Do you have kids?
I have a son that's older and lives in Wisconsin, and I have triplet grandchildren that
Gotcha.
are in their 20s.
But you were pretty active before the surgeries and everything like that.
Oh yeah, I was active. We live on a lake out here, so I do stand-up boarding, kayaking, walking. I'm not a big runner, especially after the knee surgery. Of the pounding isn't the greatest, but I've always been pretty active. But I still, when I say I do CrossFit, people are like, "Oh my God, I could never do that." And I try to encourage them and say they could do it, but I think they're just a bit intimidated by the word. And when they hear what I can do, I didn't start out that way. I couldn't even put clamps on the barbell when I first started. Cyril had to help me with those because I wasn't strong enough to grip them to put them on. So, it's a process. You don't get from where I was 4 years ago to where I am now overnight. And I think I'm very proud of what I can do. I'm proud of the strength that I have. I know there are a lot of people that are my age that cannot do half of what I do, and they admire me for it. I try to encourage them to be a part of it too, but it's an individual thing. So I enjoy going. If I don't go to the gym at least twice a week, I feel really guilty, and I feel a difference in what I'm able to do also.
Yeah, that's kind of where my question was going. I was wondering who pushed you, who kind of helped motivate you, as it sounds like you're trying to help motivate others, friends or colleagues of yours. Our oldest member, I believe, is like over here is 76 or so, and I know
Wow.
his kids were kind of a driving force behind him getting into something and getting moving. So I guess I'm kind of talking to anybody who might be watching this that, is in 50, 60, 70, 80 years old, how to find that motivation or maybe, I think a lot of people just accept what everyone tells them that, okay, you're getting older and you're not going to be able to do X, Y, Z anymore, but they don't know unless they get out and they try it, or they meet people like you or like Barry here, one of our members. So what do you think you would say to other people, again, maybe 60s, 70s, whatever, that are slowing down and are starting to, need assistance, need, a walker? Not that there's anything wrong with that, but what is it, how do you think those people could not just benefit from the workouts, but how would you maybe help them understand that there are things that are doable and that they don't have to accept, just the typical, oh, well, you're getting older, you can't do that anymore. Or the person that says to you, I'm too old, I can't do that, because we hear that all the time.
Yeah, I understand what you're saying because I felt the same way. I was encouraged by a younger couple. Like I said, they went to a gym in Adrian, and I watched how strong they were and how they changed their physical and mental being changed. And when I was looking for something to do, I pushed myself. But once I got to the gym in Florida, there were people that were 72 and 78. We have a gentleman that's 78 at our gym that's doing the open. And I guess it's encouragement by example. So if someone is intimidated, if they would at least give it a try. I know people walk into the gym in Chelsea and they look at it initially and they think, oh my gosh, how can you do that? How did you get from point A to point B? And it's almost like I want to talk to them and say, you start out with baby steps. Because I think people tend to want to look at, oh, you're in the CrossFit Open and you're cleaning and jerking, or I don't even know what that means. And I say, yeah, but I didn't start out doing that. I started out with the real basics. And maybe a small group is good for people that are my age to start out in. They wouldn't feel quite as intimidated because, as I call them, the hard bodies. You know, if I had started when I was in my 20s or 30s, I would be, way past where I am now. And I often say that to them. I wish I had started younger, but I didn't. So, when you start at age 65 and you do as much as you can to improve and get stronger, I think it's an individual thing. You have to feel it. But I also think that you need someone to show you and be an example to you. And you have to give it a try.
I know there's probably a lot of people out there watching this that say like, all right, I'll get started. I'll do something. And, a lot of people, especially a lot of seniors will walk, or maybe they'll go to the local gym and they'll maybe hop on the treadmill, the elliptical, and do a few machines. But what do you think you would look like, or your abilities would look like now if you hadn't found a gym a little more like Cyril's, or like the gym down in Florida? What do you think? Do you think you would still have seen results, or maybe not as much now? Or do you feel like you probably would have stopped trying to work out if you didn't find something that was accommodating and you had direction and coaching like you do now? What do you think it would be like today if you didn't start 4 years ago, 5 years ago?
Yeah, I'm the type of person that needs people around me to work out. I enjoy a group class. Now my husband has always lifted weights. He's been very strong. He was a hockey player, and to this day he works out 2-3 times a week. But he is motivated to do it on his own. So he'll go to a gym, not this gym, he goes to a different gym, but he'll go to a gym and he'll work out for an hour and a half and go through a whole routine. But he does it himself and he feels very comfortable doing that. I think it depends on the person. I kept going and still continue to go because of the results I see. When I take a break for any length of time, even 2-3 weeks, I notice that I go back and I'm sore and I don't feel the strength that I had. So I know in my mind I've got to keep it going. And also, I don't know, you get an adrenaline rush. You get a good feeling that, I oftentimes say at the gym, I can't do what you're doing, but I'm here. And that makes me feel proud of the fact that I came and I worked out and I did as much as I could. So I don't think I would be as far if I had kept just doing Pilates and yoga, although I think that's a great core combination. I can do sit-ups a lot easier because of that and do other core exercises. But I'm a group class person, and Strong Together Fitness in Chelsea is my kind of gym. I feel very comfortable there and I feel encouraged there. So that's what I need and that's what works for me.
Awesome. Yeah, we have just a few minutes left. So I'd just like to touch on, I think you just hit a big piece of it on the head. You have to find somewhere that you're comfortable. You have to find somewhere that you enjoy going and you're supported. I think that goes for any type of environment that you're going to go into, whether you're going to go lift on your own or you're going to go run on your own or whatever. What do you think it is for you about group classes? Why is it easier for you to go into a group class and push yourself and get that, that adrenaline rush, like I know you're talking about, that, and that really good feeling when you walk out versus doing something on your own, or running, or maybe not working out at all? Plenty of people have other hobbies. What is it in you that kind of like makes you really enjoy that group environment?
I how do I put this? I push myself more, I feel, because I watch what people are doing around me. And I think, if I add another 5 pounds to my deadlift, I can do that. If I was by myself, I might not add the extra 5 pounds. I watch what they're doing and I see how strong they are and what they can do. And I think, you know what? I can push myself more. I can be better. And the coaches too encourage me. They're careful about form and what I do, and they kind of watch over me. But on the same token, they push to add a little more weight, to do a little more, to try things like a clean and jerk. I couldn't have done that at all 2 years ago, 3 years ago. It was a very difficult workout for me. I couldn't get the older you get, the less coordinated you get too. So, that was hard for me. So if there are people around, I saw it happen today in our gym when someone was new and starting out and she was young and she was struggling a little bit, and people were encouraging her to, well, try this, you're doing this correctly. So it's the group effort that makes, I think, the results that people see.
Yeah, I think a lot of people would agree with that and resonate with that. One of the best things that we do here at our gyms, and from the feedback that we get, is one, give you some accountability by making sure you're showing up, making sure we know your name, we know what you can do, what you can't do. So having that coach, it's very much like having a personal trainer, except they're not just writing down little numbers in a box, on a piece of paper and then hanging it on the wall. When you leave, they know what you can do, what you can't do. And then that accountability factor, like I said, of having someone next to you, so I'm sure there's people you work out with all the time that and you push them and they push you. And so not everybody's like your husband. There's a lot of people that can go by themselves and can push themselves and can keep themselves accountable. Unfortunately, when people fall off, we find that they really do need someone to tell them what to do or to help push them. And as much as you might be motivated yourself, you probably wouldn't be, like you said, anywhere near where you are today if Cyril hadn't, said, hey, add this 5 pounds. And then a couple months later, hey, add this, or hey, try it this way, and that improvement it's something that I think a lot of people don't know that they want, but they find and they enjoy in those classes.
Yeah, one of the main things that I focus on too is I want to be mobile. I don't want to be dependent on people. And I think working out with weights takes me to that objective, because I do feel stronger and I do feel independent. And as you get older, that's something that's very important, is to be able to be independent. And this gym and what I'm doing is really giving me that.
Yeah, that's one of the most valuable things I think we all would want, but we don't realize it until we either have to take care of somebody that can't take care of themselves, or we see somebody in that position. And I've been there with parents, grandparents, and I also I respond to many calls in our local community as a police officer, and are helping people get up and helping people get into the ambulance and finding out what kind of medications they're on and why they're feeling the way that they are. And so I see it becoming more and more and more important, and it's not something we think about in our 20s or 30s or 40s, unless you, like I said, you're taking care of that parent or that grandparent that's sick or unable to move themselves and whatnot. So Um, Awesome. Well, Marilyn, we're just about out of time. I want to thank you so much for sharing your story and your experiences thus far. I really hope that there's somebody out there that can learn from you and take your thought process, your mindset, and hopefully, mold themselves a little bit, one piece at a time, because whatever you're doing, it's working, and I think it's going to work for a long time as long as you keep move every day, as the podcast says.
Thank you, Mike. It's been a pleasure to talk to you, and hopefully I can encourage some people to at least give it a try.
Awesome. Well, thank you again, Marilyn, and thank you to Cyril for sending your name over to us. So it's definitely a great podcast, and we'll see you guys next time. If you guys want to hear more stories just like Marilyn's, you can go to our website. It'll be attached to this link here, and check out the other podcasts, and hopefully share this with your friends and your family members so they can learn a little bit about Strong Together and what it's like to find a place that cares about you and can keep pushing you to move every day. All right. See you on the next one. Take care.